Okay. What what is going on? You are listening to TAGSPodcast, aka Talk About Gay Sex Podcast, celebrating 7 years of podcasting. This is episode 586. I am your host, Steve V, alongside Jeremy Ross Lopez. How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
Really good, thank you. Thank you so much. Joining us, of course, is the lovely, talented Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Ooh, what an introduction. Hello, darlings. I'm doing well.
Great. Awesome. Lots to talk about, starting with, the Olympics are on, and I have been watching gymnastics because I just love that, women's and men's, and it's been really exciting, as well as some other sports. And while some sports have a little bit more interest for me than others, it is really exciting seeing all these amazing athletes. And even if you weren't really into all of these sports, many people were into the opening ceremonies. And the opening ceremonies I watched, it was actually 5 hours. But normally, what they do is they are walking into a huge stadium. You get to see all of the athletes march in. And this year, Paris, of course, had to do it differently, which I applaud them. They had them riding in boats along the Seine River. And it was just super cool, other than it was raining a little bit, but it was still really cool to see it. And then they had the carrying of the torch done in a really artistic way, I thought, with some graphics and kind of masked people that would carry the torch and climbing up other parts of buildings in Paris, huge buildings, and it was just really exciting. But of course, it wasn't without controversy, because there at one point was a lot of conservatives were coming for the opening ceremonies, because at one point you see a group of drag queens all huddled around a table, and it's looking very gluttonous and very cool. Well, a lot of conservatives just immediately went to the conclusion that this was a rendition of the Last Supper, a Christian Catholic shot taken by Leonardo da Vinci back in the day, and that this was blasphemous, that you would actually have drag queens recreating this. But if they had done their research a little bit more, it wasn't that at all. It was actually supposed to be depicting Dionysus, which is the Greek god known for his gluttonous. And even at the end, they picture him coming out. They open up the feast that they're going to eat, and it's this blue character, which is supposed to be Dionysus. And if you know anything about Greek history, that was the whole point of that. It was supposed to just tongue-in-cheek. The other thing I'll say about it too, while these conservatives like Cameron, what's her name? She used to be on The View. Cameron Burr was just called it disgusting and said she was outraged. But I mean, what does religion have to do with the Olympics? It has nothing to do with it. The Olympics actually came out and said, we apologize for people that took it that way, but it wasn't that at all. It was just supposed to be Greek, which is the Olympics history, Greek gods, and that's where all of Olympics started, was in Greece, and it was just a rendition of that. And the last thing I'll say on this is that, Paris, and if you ever go to Paris in general, they have a really funny sense of humor. I mean, I think it all goes hand in hand, that they would have drag queens, they would have, along the Seine River. They're over the top when they put on productions. They had Marie Antoinette with her head cut off at one point, with rock music, like metal rock music in the background. And it was just all very Parisian and lovely, and I don't know. It was all good. But I mean, Kodi, when you hear this, what do you think about like people like Candace and conservatives coming for them?
That Candace girl is the worst. She she really has no compunction or any ideas about the rest of the world. It seems like she just has a really closed mind to me. So I feel like people need to step outside of their bounds and really look at this as a piece of art, which it really, really was. And I was so happy that France did this. They're extra in the best kind of way. And I knew that they were going to be amazing. And they had Celine Dion perform
Yes.
opening ceremony. So you knew it was going to be fabulous. You knew it was going to be opulent. And that's exactly what it was. And I think everybody needs to take a second, think about things, and look at this from a more open-minded point of view.
Yeah, Jeremy, I'm curious. Did you see Celine Dion perform, and did you see Lady Gaga perform, which was
Of
this
course I
amazing?
did.
Lady Gaga was brilliant, I thought, in a rendition of kind of an old, it harkened to old 40s, 50s films where they did huge productions. What did you think?
I really loved the performances from both of them. As for the opening show, I liked aspects of it and I thought it was very creative, but I also thought it looked very messy and kind of all over the place. I didn't feel like the videography of it was that great. I mean, it
Yeah.
was like of course it was raining outside, so obviously that interferes with it, but I felt like it chopped from like interpretive dance to fashion runway to drag queens to Marie Antoinette to float on the river to the person running with the torch, and I thought it was a little bit like
Thrown up.
all like kind of all over the place without like a concise direction, but I did love a lot of the imagery. So I'm like kind of torn. I'm definitely nowhere near conservative, but I do see where the Last Supper reference comes from, and I didn't know the background of Greek mythology with the whole feast and meal, but I did notice them all lined up, and it does kind of look like that. So I understand that point, but I definitely don't agree with it. I just think it was a little bit all over the place, but I did love a lot of aspects of it. And of course, like for me, Celine was the best part of the whole thing.
Yeah, I have to, on the positive notes, it was cool seeing them along the Seine River and all the athletes, and they could interview them. And that was just really exciting. And sometimes it can be a little muddled when they're just all marching into a stadium. You're like, wait, who's who? And there's less separation, but this was separated by boats. So it was actually really exciting and cool that way. In fact, Diego, my boyfriend, said I was talking to him, and I'm like, "Oh my god!" I took a picture of the screen because Paraguay came up, and he's from Paraguay, and he was like, "See, we do exist." I'm like, "I know you do." They had 24 athletes, and I thought, "Awesome!" So I just sent him the picture. But I do agree, it was probably my critiques would be it was at 5 hours, it was really long. And I do think that at times the graphics were passing that torch through the graphics were a teeny bit, muddled, and there was a lot going on. I think they kind of threw everything into the pot, and, I was cool for the runway though. I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, that was awesome for sure.
Yeah, and of course, Celine was just to see what she's gone through and to see her just belting it out like that was just beautiful. And Lady Gaga was also amazing. There was one twink who's a porn star, Noah Fox, who actually came on to Twitter and said, after seeing the article of the Olympics, drags, are you serious? Religion isn't a topic to play with. Such inappropriate behavior and disrespect. See why I don't support drag queens? Now
What?
everyone is going to be against the LGBT for
Oh,
show.
bitch.
Yeah, and exactly. And it was like, you're a porn star. Come on. I mean, be outraged over Austin Wolf and what that is dragging your industry, your particular industry, porn down, but I don't come for drag queens, and they were just hired to do this. And by the way, it was not that, it was a very small segment. So to really focus on that and to be gay and a porn star and to come for drag queens is just ridiculous.
Well, I also think that Paris was making a statement. They're not by the book. They're not like uh, trying to be accepted by everyone in the world.
Right.
They are what they are, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
that's what the statement that they were trying to make is being direct about their messaging. And I think it was more of like showing their acceptance for every, like, individual. And I think that that's what the statement that they were trying to make is being direct about their messaging. And I think it was more of like showing their acceptance for every, individual. And I think that that's what the statement that they were trying to make is being direct about their messaging. And I think it was more of like showing their acceptance for every, shape of walk of life, and that Paris can easily be like a melting pot, and they're welcoming the Olympics to their realm.
I agree. I mean, there's so many things about France that is a dichotomy. I mean, they showed references to the wars that they've had, that they've ignited at times. And but one positive thing is they looked at all of the statues that are in France, in Paris in particular, and it's a huge disproportionate number of male statues as opposed to a very small percentage of female, of people that have made differences. And there's several instances like there should be way more statues, and they actually erected them, and at the end of the games they will offer them to Paris, and hopefully Paris will put them up around the city, because so they did a lot of really cool things. I don't know, I was really Kodi, any words on porn star twink Noah Fox?
Yeah, she needs some therapy. But I got really tickled because you kept saying erect, and I was like, my mind is of a 12-year-old. So
I love it. Love it. Somebody also causing a stir in a good way is Tom Daly, the diver who won a medal and showed off his pride at this year's Olympics. He showed it off by actually he had like a towel, and it's a rainbow flag, and I love that he's really showing his pride. Apparently in 2020 during the pandemic he took up knitting as well, and when he's not on the diving board, he is knitting away all kinds of really cool sweaters. And I don't know, I'm happy for him too. And yeah, I think he's a good representative of the community to show that we are here. So kudos to him. All right. Well, let's move on to conservatives should have a bigger issue with this next story, because after neglecting to read privacy policy, scorned priest is suing Grindr for being outed. So it's a scorned priest who is suing Grindr after he says the company failed to protect his personal data, which resulted in him being outed by a Catholic watchdog group and having to step down from his cushy post as a U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops. I'm talking about Monsignor Jeffrey Burrill, and he resigned from his position as General Secretary of the U.S. CCB shortly after a story broke in July 2021 alleging he engaged in possible improper behavior on Grindr. And he had been on Grindr, also showed he had visited numerous gay bars, private residences, and at least one bathhouse in cities around countries throughout 2018, 2019, and 2020. Well, now he's wanting to actually sue Grindr because he thinks that how did they have access to this? But all of us, when we go on the app, or many of these apps, are essentially signing away they're not selling our data to Catholic watchdogs, but they are in general. You sign away when you buy the app, and they have access to a lot of our information. And so I don't know, I just think it's so like hypocritical that now that he got caught for things that are not allowed in for him being a Monsignor. I mean, Jeremy, when you hear this, what are your thoughts? Does he have a case, and what do you think about this?
I mean, I think it's kind of silly, and I'm sure that he agreed to something in signing up to be on any of the apps that like allows his any sort of information to be shared. And I just think if you are in that position and you want to have sexual freedom, you have to like weigh out the pros and cons and make your decisions based off of that. And I just feel like if they have watchdogs that are looking for that, they're gonna find what they're looking for. So I don't know. I think it's kind of silly, and I'm sure Grindr gets sued all the time and has great lawyers that it's not going to work in his favor, but who knows?
Exactly. Kodi, it's ironically, he did all of this while preaching about homosexuality as a sin and how gay
girl.
people are destined to spend eternity in hell. I mean, do we need to go on? But also, Kodi, the app states very clearly in its privacy policy that it collects data and shares it with third parties, and there's no way around it. By signing up for the app, a user is giving their consent to have their personal info shared.
Yeah, am I wrong for thinking that this is what he kind of he reaped what he sowed, because I feel like he is out here living this double life, which is, to me, I, I'm not anybody that's in the closet and that needs to be protected for whatever they do for their personal reasons. I can understand it, but when you actively go against your community, I think that there's something that is irredeemable about that. I don't know if that's the right word that I want to use, but it fits here in this situation because, sir, how can you go against your own nature and talk about all these things and then come out the side of your neck and try and go hook up with somebody? It just is, it's anti towards how I feel, and so I feel like it's justified that this is happening to him, and I do not think that he has a suit for against Grindr at all.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, good luck. And sadly, I think he is still preaching the word of God at another
What?
location somewhere. But I think and I do think that this is not going to go anywhere. It's only going to
And he's
bring
still on
bad.
Grindr too.
He's probably still on Grindr using
Yeah.
an alias, and it's just he got a burner phone, you
Right.
know. Yeah, one more thing on the Olympics. I actually put a little link in our Zencaster. I don't know if you can see it, Jeremy, in yours, but it is Greg Louganis. The reason I wanted to talk about this is Greg Louganis is talking about, he was an Olympic diver, and back in 1984, it was the only Olympics I ever went to as a viewer in LA. I'm actually excited about the next Olympics, which will be back in Los Angeles. But 40 years ago, he wrote, Greg Louganis cemented his name in history as the greatest American diver in Olympic history. And when he decided to launch this new heritage collection, which he has these new swimsuit coming by with Chubbies, he decided to take inspiration from that era, 1984 Olympics. And what was cool about the 84 Olympics is they had a certain, if you notice in the Olympics now, they have a certain color scheme going on. There's that pale pink, which I don't love, but there's a baby blue in there, and there's a few other colors. And that whole color scheme, every city chooses a color scheme. Well, back in 84, I don't even like pastels, but that was the color scheme back then. And I loved it then. I don't know. It was probably the 80s is why I liked it so much. But he is, we'll talk about his swimsuit in a minute, but in 84, we saw him, but it was, he also hit his head on the diving board at one point, and he was freaking out because he knew that he was HIV positive. And when you hear this message, he talks about how he didn't think he was going to live past 30. It was the 80s, right? And so for him to be 64 today and healthy, he said at one point he didn't even know that once he was given, he could live this long. He was like, I didn't plan on living this long, but he's going strong and partnered up with Chubbies for an inspired swimsuit line that is related to the 84 Olympics and pastels. And Jeremy, can you see it at all?
I can't, no, but I was looking it up and I kind of like it. I think
I
it's a cool idea, and I like the homage to the line, and from being back in the day, the reference, and I think it's cute.
Yeah, I'm glad you liked it too, because we've been talking about sniffies and not being really big fans of it. This one has a through line. I really love Greg Louganis. I always have. It's just such an inspiration on so many levels. I mean, there's the Olympian that he was, but then on top of that, living and putting his HIV status, and now at 64, I think it's so cool. And he's doing cartwheels and handstands in the video, and he looks like he's just truly living his best life. And that color scheme, I wouldn't have thought I liked, but I do actually love it.
I
Like I
think
said,
they're really fun, and I think they're perfect for like warm weather and having a tan and all of that. And Chubby's is known to be like very comfortable too.
yeah, Kodi, when you hear this story about Greg Louganis and working with Chubbies, what do you think?
I love it. I have adored Greg Louganis for the longest time. He's such an inspiration, and this uh, compan- partnership with Chubbies is so amazing, and the shorts are so adorable.
They
I
really
might
are.
put them in my cart right now because and it has a matching shirt with it as well. And they, like Jeremy said, they look so comfortable, and he's doing everything in them.
Yeah.
Handstands,
It's
cartwheels,
so
all the things.
cute.
So
Yeah, and
yeah.
I would probably buy both of those pieces, but I'm not a fan of wearing, like, a onesie look.
Oh, I'm here for it.
Okay, I've
We
never
know
been
you love a good romper.
I like to I would get them, but I would just mix them up. So I would wear, like,
A
white jeans,
solid.
a solid
Yeah.
below, a solid on top. I mean, Jeremy, are you a fan of those the onesie look?
I actually, it's funny, I don't mind them, but they only look good on like certain people. They're very, very limited amount of people that they like are flattering on. I think
Yep.
they're like kind of
What type
cheesy,
of
but
people are we talking
Me
I
about?
don't know. The
me and
straight,
Mr. Roper.
well, and the straight bros that I've seen wear them, they actually look like kind of cute in them, even though they're like corny.
They're kind of corny to me, and it looks a
I
little
would never wear them though, but
okay, good. I would never either. It can look a little pajama-y to me, and I don't like that to look like I'm wearing pajamas or I'm going
I
to
think that's
bed.
why I love it, because it looks a little pajama-y.
Oh my gosh, I
So I'll
love
go to
it.
Three's Company, and me and Mr. Roper will be in our matching
There you
onesies.
go. Hey there. We talk a lot about sex on this podcast and have for 7 years. As much as I like to talk about it, I also like to have sex. But I like to feel confident when I do. I think we all do, right? I've played different roles in the bedroom over the years, and lately I enjoy being a truly verse top in the bedroom with my boyfriend and verse bottom for my OnlyFans just for fans. I want to be confident in all these situations, but I also want to do it with a product that I feel is safe, effective, and science backed, especially being of a certain age. Our friends at Joy Mode have got the answer that I think we've all been looking for, that I've implemented into my daily routine, and along with my daily prep, essential vitamins, diet and exercise, and sleep, I've incorporated their sexual performance booster into my daily regimen. Well, what are the results? Confidence, harder and stronger erections, and more energy for things like the gym and, of course, the bedroom and life. It comes in a palm-sized packet like your favorite electrolyte powder. Stir it in to 6 to 8 ounces of water 45 minutes before sexual activity and watch the magic unfold. Literally, not only is this the only supplement you'll need in the bedroom, but it also supports your blood vessels, cardiovascular health, athletic performance, blood pressure, and more. This, guys, is my favorite part. Even on days when you are not having sex, you can take the sexual performance booster to boost things like nitric oxide in your body, which not only supports your erection quality long term, but also increases blood flow circulation. Who could not want that? This allows for your cardiovascular system to pump blood more seamlessly and effectively into the areas of your body that need it, whether it's during workouts, sexual activity, or your regular daily exertion. So here's the best way to make this happen. Get their 30 pack, which comes in a perforated box, perfect for your supplement cabinet, pantry, or bathroom vanity. And it's the perfect 1 month supply. Support your erections, athletic performance, heart health, and overall quality of life with Joy Mode. Whether you're in the move or traveling, our compact sachets are easy to pack and take with you. I just did on my last trip to Portugal. Get a Joy Mode boost anytime, anywhere. Redefine your intimacy, guys, and go to usejoymode.com for 20% off with the code TAGS, TAGS. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code TAGS, TAGS, at usejoymode.com. Great sex solved naturally. Just a reminder that there's still time to grab a tier on our Patreon page, because August 15th, we are doing our live stream with myself and Kodi, and we are going to be sharing stories that we don't normally talk about on this show. But on top of that, Kodi will be singing 4 songs, including 2 new songs with his current hit, Talk About It. That's all
Woo.
August 15th, Thursday, 9 p.m. And when you go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/tags podcast, and grab a tier, not only are you supporting Tags, but you'll get entered to see this live stream on August 15th. Plus, you get things like commercial free, because I know we've got a lot of them now, and you don't even have to worry about that. I've already started putting those out. And you get things like our extra episodes, a bonus episode per month, some other things like Discord, where you can talk to us during the week on the Discord platform, and a host of other things that are really extra special, sexy perks. So go to patreon.com/tags podcast. And let's move on to something that Kodi told me I should start watching. And my boyfriend and I started watching it last night. We were watching a lot of Olympics, and we just ordered pizza and started watching the show I Kissed a Boy. which
So
is
exciting.
which is on Hulu with host Danny Minogue, and she's so gorgeous. That's Kylie Minogue's younger sis, and she's a great host. It's set in Italy, and so far I was kind of like, am I going to get into this? The premise is that it's about 10 initial singles that come on the show, correct, Kodi?
Yes.
And they all, at the very premiere episode, one of them's walking you get the background from one person walking in one direction, and you get the background of another guy walking in like they're going to meet at a point. And when they kind of slow the cameras down, and when they finally get inches away from each other, they come close together. Maybe they say hi, maybe they don't, but the whole point is they kiss. And most of them were makeout kisses. And then from there, you get to see if they like each other. And then it goes on. And then they all live in a house, but it is in Italy. And you get to see if they like each other more, or if I think I got up to the point where they have a kiss off, where after spending some time with the person that they kissed, then they actually go, it's almost like the rose ceremony. They like, do you still pick this person that you want to spend more time with, or do you want to move on and try and kiss somebody else in the room? Are you watching this, Jeremy?
No, I've never seen it, but I definitely am interested, and will probably start watching it with my boyfriend.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yes.
Kissed a Boy.
It
Well,
sounds
Kodi.
similar to For the Love of Dilfs, which we loved.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
It's
Well, that
along
one
those
I
same
haven't
lines.
watched, but I will watch. So, okay, good. So, Kodi, you started watching this one. What do you
Yeah.
love so much about it? And yeah.
So I was watching, I think it's Too Hot to Handle or something like that on Netflix, and I got through it and it was intriguing, but I was like, I wonder if there's a show out there like this for LGBTQ plus people. And I just Googled it and it popped right up, and I was like, where has this been my entire life? I started this show and I immediately text you and I was like, we have to talk about this. I don't know how this slipped past our radar. But it's amazing. And I really enjoy the aspect of it that it is matching people up. They do like a personality test, and I'm going to see this personality test at some point. I'm going to DM Danny Minogue and ask her about this personality test. But they match them up, and then throughout the season, they get to decide if they want to stay together or if they want to try for somebody new, and nobody is off limits. And they
Yes.
bring in other people throughout the show as well.
Right, surprises like a lot of these shows do. That's interesting, because I was wondering, how did they match up these initial 10 together?
Yeah.
Because I would say, without giving away too much at the beginning, a lot of them liked each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, they've never seen each other. And I guess it also brings up the question, do you think a kiss is a good way to actually see if you're interested in somebody, Jeremy?
Oh, definitely. I think like kissing is really important, especially if you are going to date someone. And I mean, I think sometimes you in the moment don't get like the juiciest or best kiss, but I think that it's definitely an important like attraction to someone, and a good kisser is always a good thing.
That's funny you said you don't get like there was one contestant that is really cute, but He has never dated men at all. This is his first foray into exploring his homosexuality, and he gave the guy a peck, literally in
Mhm.
like a second, right, Kodi?
Oh yeah, it was hilarious.
I've definitely done that before. Just like I think out of nerves and just like making it really quick and brief rather than having like a long romantic kiss. So I can totally see where that happens.
Yeah, I mean, Cody, it's interesting because, like, the way my boyfriend and I met, we talked a lot at
Mhm.
this bar, but then ultimately we started making out. And he's a great kisser, and we have
Ooh.
really good chemistry when we kiss. And so that solidified it. We kind of went in a little bit the different direction than the show is. But what do you think about starting off with a kiss?
I love it. I thought it was very it added a new twist to this formula, which can get a little bit old if you ask me. And if it happens entirely too much, I think that you can predict what's going to happen in a show. And I think that this was a fresh new way to add something in. I think that a kiss is a complete indicator of chemistry. And if you don't have that electricity, then I am going to seriously debate on whether I want to continue to date you, because it's very, very important to me that not necessarily that you know how to kiss, but I mean that's a factor, but that there is like a spark between us.
Yeah, I agree. And if nothing else, the show's a lot of fun. You get to see Danny Minogue in different fabulous dresses and
She's the best.
she's really awesome. They're, like I said, they're in Italy in this beautiful I forget what do they casita, what, it's not a casita, it's, what word do they keep using?
I
It
thought
looks
it
like a
was casita. I thought that was
it
it, but
it looks more like a villa, which is what I would call something like that. But
yeah.
they keep using a different word for it, and I can't. I'm like, wait, what? The other thing I would say is maybe turn on your what do you call that? Captions.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
closed
Because
the
captioning.
subtitles to
I
say.
Oh.
would turn them on. We have mine on just in general these days, but because it's all UK, in some accents are stronger than others, especially for
Girl,
American audience, and
the
so
British is Britishing in this one. I was like, "Where's Paul Revere? He should have warned me about this."
yeah. What was his name? Bradsky or Boyd?
Bobski, Bobski.
Bobsky. It's like, oh my gosh, he talks like a mile a minute, and I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't really understand every word he's saying, and so I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm glad they kept it all UK people, because an American, if they threw them in there, they'd be like, wait, what?
Can
I'm
you
still
repeat
trying to
that, please?
understand what you're saying. It's lovely. It really is. Okay, moving on to who is Vivian Wilson? Well, she is
Hmm.
Elon Musk's trans daughter and isn't letting her father define her. She's the 20-year-old language student and has largely preferred to stay out of the public eye, despite her biological father being the richest person in the world. And she's not going to let her father tell her story for her. The 20-year-old, like I said, preferred to stay out of the public eye despite her biological father being one of the richest men. Still, she wasn't going to stay silent while Elon Musk fallaciously attacked her identity. Wilson is one of 6 children Musk had with his first wife, model Justine Wilson, and she filed a petition in LA County Superior Court in April of 2022 to legally change her name and gender, citing the reason as gender identity and the fact that I no longer live with or wish to be related to my biological father in any way, shape, or form. And recently, Musk was in an interview and said that he feels like he was tricked into signing documents before he had really any understanding of what was going on in terms of letting her get on beta blockers or to actually change her gender. And he said that the doctors told him that his daughter might commit suicide if she was prevented from receiving care, then claimed that the life-saving treatment killed his daughter while repeatedly misgendering her. So he still doesn't, call her by what she wants to be called by. I mean, Jeremy, when you hear this, I mean, would you not also, even though Elon Musk is the richest man, she could have access to a lot of this money, but since he doesn't really support anything with trans community, would you do you have some sympathy, empathy for her?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that I'm not never been a big fan of Elon, and I think he's kind of like very narcissistic and just not a great guy from what you see just in media. And I just think that he probably has plenty of lawyers that would be able to read over any documents that he doesn't have enough time to
Thank you.
read
That's what I
out.
was thinking.
So I just think that's kind of like a pathetic excuse. And it's the excuse of like just a douchebag that isn't sympathetic for their own child. And I think he needs to get over himself. And she probably made the best decision, kind of separating ways.
Yeah, I mean, Kodi, we haven't really heard from her in a long time. And we were going to do a story last week. I'm glad we held off on it.
Me
We were just
too.
going to talk about the interview that did where he was talking about his child. And now she feels the need to come forward because she doesn't like what she's hearing from her estranged father.
Oh yeah, I'm glad that we held off too, because when I saw that this came out, I said to myself, somebody is raising this child right. It's not Elon Musk. It's probably a queen somewhere that took Vivian under their wing and just, allowed her to shine. And I think that Jeremy is right. That is a pathetic excuse. And I think Elon Musk is a pathetic excuse for a parent, because who doesn't support their child through something like this and constantly dead names them? And it's just ridiculous to me. So I applaud Vivian, and Elon has been on my list for a long time of people that I don't necessarily respect.
Yes, and our thoughts and our prayers are, we mentioned this last week, but we have a little bit more information for drag race star Morphine, who's focusing on recovery following a car crash. And I'm talking about RuPaul's drag race star Morphine Love Dion, who has broken her silence after being injured in a serious car crash on July 21st. The season 16 contestant was involved in a collision whilst traveling in an Uber with Canada's drag race star Chaos, where she suffered multiple injuries. 6 individuals, including Morphine and Chaos, were taken to the hospital, while another individual tragically passed away from injuries sustained from the crash. And she is on bed rest, and she asked that you give her time and patience while she actually gets better. But I mean, she fractured her collarbone and broke her jaw in half. And these are not, she said, I needed surgery to repair and led to the loss of several teeth. I'm still a bit sad and traumatized, but extremely grateful and happy to be alive. So thoughts and prayers to her. Kodi,
Definitely.
she was on the All Stars that we were watching, right, Cody?
No, she was on season
Oh,
16.
season 16. Okay, that's right.
Yeah,
Yes.
she's amazing. She's such a great lip syncer too, and all my good energy is going out towards her.
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's give some advice. And one of this comes from, we have a few from Reddit, and they asked the question, what are your minimum expectations of your host on Grindr? I've recently made a Grindr account and will be offering hosting. When you go to someone else's place, what are your minimum expectations aside from the obvious of the host, and what can I do as the host to earn some bonus points? I'm recently out and still working things out, and while the sex will probably be not great for the other guy, at least I can be a good host for him. This might be a stupid question, but I don't have any IRL, Cody. What does that mean?
In real life.
In real life to talk about this. Yeah. So this is an interesting one. The first thing I would actually say, because we report on this a lot, is would it be possible to meet them in person? Like at a cafe or something, just to make sure, because we keep reporting on stories of people that are, I don't know, or at least let people know that you're having somebody over. But Jeremy, when you hear this, what are the minimum expectations of your host on Grindr?
I honestly, and I know this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think from living in New York, I don't have any expectations whatsoever. So I've had all over the place, from like being offered like food and dinner afterwards, or like absolutely nothing and walked into a shit show disaster, or them saying that they can host but then have like three roommates that are all home at the same
Oh
time.
my
So,
God.
I mean,
Well,
my expectations were always low and kept the bar like I didn't ever expect, but I would say like at least tidy up and like
Yes.
and be ready and like cleanse yourself and rinse
yes.
before and like have fresh breath, I guess, and like the hygiene aspect is probably like the minimum to ask for, I would say.
Those are great things. Yeah. I mean, I just focus on yourself. You're doing a good thing by offering your place up. And so have yourself ready. I love that. And yeah, tidy up. I mean, do the same thing if you were going to have a guest over or a friend over. You kind of want to tidy up. I tidy up all the time when people are coming over. I do. I mean, I don't live in a,
But
you
have you
know,
ever literally walked into someone's that it was like a shit show? Like,
Yes.
just
yes.
and I'm like, you didn't think to pick up like the clothes that you're gonna walk over, or just I don't know, scattered all
Yeah,
over the
right, or
place,
make
clutter.
have the bed kinda ready to go too, don't have it all
Yeah.
crinkled up and, like, "How are we supposed to work with this?" I mean, Cody, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, one responder said to this, "One guy offered me an ice cream sandwich after sex. He's in the host hall of fame for that."
Oh no, girl. So I just want to first say, yes, I have had been to hookups where there's stuff everywhere, but I still fuck them. Okay, I just want to put that part out there. And secondly, this is not a hotel, and we are not friends. Don't have to do anything but make sure that I am clean and I'm ready to go. All you have to do is make sure you are all cleaned out and your breath is smelling good, and maybe we have a little bit of water before and kind of feel each other out. But other than that, no, this is not, we're not friends. I'm not leaving a mint on your pillow. So this is it. As far as the three roommates go, when Steve was saying, make sure that you're in a safe position, that is the first thing that I thought of. Make sure that if you have roommates, that somebody else could be home in order to make sure that everything goes copacetically.
I mean, I guess that would be good from that standpoint,
Yeah.
is that as long as, like, you're not gonna be super loud and it's awkward for everybody in underneath that roof, including the person you just brought over. I mean, nobody wants to feel like, "Oh, hi, we're gonna do that. Yep, we're gonna do that."
Just make sure you don't kill me. That's
I mean,
literally
but
it.
I guess I never thought of it from that point. It's like, yeah, motherfucker,
Yeah.
you try something, and these people are you're gonna have to
My
contend
big
with
bad
them.
roommates will sick you.
Exactly. I think I come from the standpoint of just tidy up and be prepared for hygiene wise and everything. And I always ask, like, a glass, can I get you a glass of water? Because, like, here in New York, wherever they're coming from, everyone always, a glass of water. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's always good. Or after as well, because, hopefully it was good sex and you need to hydrate is another good thing. But Cody, just to push back on you, it's like,
Go
yeah, it's
ahead.
not a hotel, but what if this person turned out to be somebody you really liked and the sex was amazing? And what if it was somebody that you actually, you know, wanted to date? If you were a slob, are they going to really want to date you?
Yes, because they will see how good I am at the sex, honey. Okay.
Or
I
maybe they
mean,
can help you get out the vacuum after.
yeah,
I was just about to say,
exactly.
if they really want to date me, they'll help me clean. How about
I love
that?
it. Oh my gosh. Okay. Here's another one by Gay Kink WS. They want me to kiss and make out with another guy while they are fucking me. Am I making live porn for them? They wrote, I often have hookups in hotel rooms. I find men on dating apps like Grindr theme today. Many want to find me blindfolded and ready for use in the room. I like it too and think it's exciting getting a quick and hard fuck. No talk, just fast, anonymous sex. Many of the men are businessmen. Many ask if we are two in the room. Many are interested in me making out with another guy while they are fucking me. It sounds like having another guy there is more important than being able to fuck me anonymously. Some want me to find a guy to make out with. Some businessmen even want me to ask a colleague or even rent a man and pay for it to have in the room to make out with. I feel like they're asking for live porn. Why are they asking for this? Is a quick and easy fuck not enough anymore? This is such an interesting one because the few times was using the apps, or I hated the onslaught of send me more pictures. It's like I just unlocked my private pictures. Why do I have to send more? And it's just like on and on and on. Or do you think that we could find a third? And do you think you could reach out? And it was just like on and on and on. And it's like, can we or we could just fuck and have a good time. And then maybe when it's convenient, we could find a third if it's good another time. But I don't like this idea. I don't know, Jeremy, when you hear this, what's your advice? Are they asking for too much?
I think they are, and I think that the person that is waiting at the hotel room should state, like, if you're not cool with one-on-one, or you're not cool with what I can offer, then maybe you should find a different scenario, because it sounds like they're not really comfortable with doing it, but they're just doing it to be like pleasing, and I think that they should do whatever makes them feel best and not put themselves out just because they want to please a total stranger.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think I can remember before saying, I mean, are you good with just you and I? And a person once said, "Oh no, no, of course, yeah, no, let's do that." But somebody in the comment section, Cody, said, "People want what they want. When you have anonymous sex, you have to put up with random people and the random things they want. It's on you to communicate and negotiate for what you want and say no if there's an incompatibility, like what Jeremy was stating."
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. Jeremy hit it 100% on the head. Don't do anything that you are not comfortable with, because you don't want to, at the end of the day, compromise yourself. It's just not worth it. You're never probably going to see this person again. You, you, you're not friends. You're not. This ain't a hotel. I'm going to reiterate that.
Right.
Or it is,
And-
and there is chocolates on the nightstand.
Oh my God.
right? But again, like, I don't shame anybody for the kinks that they have, and maybe this is something that these other people want. I've seen it several times on the apps myself, so I think that they shouldn't really take offense to it. But if they're not comfortable with it, definitely do not go through with it.
Yeah, good advice. And people are greedy, but it's up to you to put out your limitations and make you be enough. Okay, and then a couple shout outs. We have to shout out to Vanessa Williams, who released her second single off her upcoming album, and the song's called Bop. Bop after Bop. And it's so cool because it features Trixie Mattel and Lion Babe. Lion Babe, I've followed for years, but it's actually Vanessa's daughter. That's Jillian Hervey that is in it. And I love a lot of Lion Babe's music on their own because it's like a group. But this song is, you both heard it, right? Did you both love it?
Yes,
My
I
God,
loved
love.
it.
So good. So
It's a bop for
it's the
sure.
song we needed right now. I'm very happy about it. And the video is great too. So check that out. And also, shout out to Vice President and hopefully President elect at soon would be Kamala Harris, where she was on Drag Race. She made an appearance. Did you see this, Cody?
You know, I see Mama Kamala at this
She
on the
stopped.
drag race.
Yes, she stopped by the was it the finale
The
of Drag
finale, yeah.
Race All Stars,
And she
and
had her crew with her.
she had her crew, and she wanted everybody to know that she is standing with us, and that drag is a whole, it's a whole statement. She is the Democratic nominee for president, and She appeared on RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars 9 season finale on July 26, and a political action committee started by drag queens is helping Harris and other Democrats get out the vote. That was their main message. And I think that was really well stated on the series. Harris said, "Each day we're seeing our rights and freedoms under attack, including the right of everyone to be who they are, love, and who they love, openly and with pride," she said in her appearance. And it also featured Leslie Jones, Cheyenne Jackson, she was in there with, Michelle Visage, Jamal Sims, choreographer, and Lance Bass. So really cool. And I just think we're already seeing the cool factor of future president, Madam Kamala Harris. So let's just keep our fingers crossed. Okay, well, so much fun with you guys, as always. You know, you can follow my co-host. You can follow Jeremy on the gram at @JRossLopez, at @JRossLopez. Follow Kodi, he's a life coach, at KMD Coaching, or his personal account at Mr. Maurice. Follow me on the gram. I am _Steve V. Go to my Twitter account at TAGSPodcast, where you get a preview of my Just for Fans and OnlyFans. And I'm releasing content now every week. So really fun and exciting about that. And in the meantime, go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/TAGSPodcast. Grab a tier and join us for our live stream on August 15th. And in the meantime, continue having hot, gay sex.
Sex.